Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. No more pizza takeouts on Friday, because today I want to show you how to make my miracle dough pizza. This dough is extremely airy. It has little holes in it. It's very pliable. It's chewy. It's just perfect for this type of pizza. And I want to show you this easy dough recipe that is going to include a Vital Wheat flour. And let's get on with it. Let's go to our ingredients. You will need 3 cups of bread flour, 375 to 400 milliliters of water, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and a tablespoon of active dry yeast. And you're also gonna need 1 cup of this Vital Wheat flour. First, transfer about half a cup of water in a separate cup. We need to warm it up. And we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of sugar and a tablespoon of active dry yeast. We need to wake up our yeast so it's active and ready to go. Now let's talk about this Vital Wheat flour. It is made from the wheat flour and it has been hydrated to activate the gluten and then processed to remove everything but the gluten. So the gluten then dried and grounded back into a powder. In vegan diets, this powder is usually used to produce the vegetarian meat, and it's very high in protein, and it results in a very chewy bread, so we need 1 cup of that. We're going to combine 2 flours together and then mix it slightly, and then to that mixture we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to transfer all this into a stand-up mixer. I highly advise you guys use a stand-up mixer. It's almost impossible to knead this dough by hand because it is really tough. So in a stand-up mixer with a hook attachment, put your flour mixture, and our yeast is ready and active. We're going to add this to the flour and keep adding the water to make really stiff dough. And in my case, it took exactly 400 milliliters to make that dough. And then you can always lift up your mixer, make sure your hook is right in the middle of that dough. Then continue kneading your dough for about 10 minutes or so until your dough picks up every little bit of that flour. In about 10 minutes, the dough is ready. Then brush your proofing container with the olive oil. We're going to transfer our dough, and we're gonna let it proof for about 2 to 3 hours until it triples in size. In the meantime, we're gonna prepare our toppings. We're gonna need 1 beefsteak tomato, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, some fresh mozzarella, some fresh basil, some dried basil, a little bit of salt, and of course a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I am using a non-stick pizza pan, which I'm gonna brush with the olive oil. And let's check on our dough. Look at this, guys. It has so many bubbles. It's almost tripled in size. And as you can see, consistency of this dough has changed. It became much softer and much more pliable. Out of this amount of dough, we can make 2 16-inch pizzas. So I'm just gonna cut that piece of dough in half and put the other half aside, and we're gonna form a pizza out of 1 piece of that half piece of the dough. The process of rolling this dough is slightly different from your regular dough. You almost have to stretch it because it has so much gluten in it. And of course, I wish I could make all this stunts like a professional pizza makers can, but I can't. So I'm gonna stretch it to the point when I can use the rolling pin to roll it out to my 16-inch pan. And as you can see, the dough is almost alive. And if you can hear this noise of the cracking little bubbles in the dough, it's pretty amazing. Roll out your pizza dough pretty thin, with leaving just a little thicker border for the crust. And as you can see, mine is starting creating those holes because I guess I rolled it out too thin, but it's okay. We can always patch them up. So just put it on your pizza pan and start forming it or stretching it to the sides of the pan with leaving that little crust on the side. That's what's gonna puff up, and it's gonna be really amazing. And don't forget to patch these little holes if you have any. And we are ready for our toppings. This pizza I'm making today is all white pizza, so I'm not going to be using any tomato sauce. I'm just going to slightly drizzle some olive oil on top of that pizza pie and put my Parmesan cheese on. Then I'm gonna lay out these beautiful beefsteak tomatoes and then try to create a pretty pattern, because as you know, presentation is everything. We're gonna put a little bit of salt on these tomatoes, and we're gonna put these little circles of fresh mozzarella in between those tomatoes. And of course, we're gonna put a little bit of fresh basil. If you don't have a fresh basil, it's okay. You can always sprinkle some of the dry basil on, which in my case, I'm gonna do both, because they both have a different intensity in flavor. So I'm gonna also sprinkle some dry basil, drizzle a little bit of olive oil on just that crust, and it's ready to go in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. Okay, ready for this presentation? Look how beautiful this pizza pie is. The crust is puffy, has a little bit of a crunch to it, at the same time is very soft inside. And when you cut this pizza, and if you look at the dough inside, it has the most amazing filling. It is crunchy outside, it's very chewy inside. And of course, with the remaining pizza dough, I made another pie for my kids because they're meat eaters. So I made one with sausage and some black olives and a little touch of pepperoncinis for spice. I hope you like this pizza dough recipe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.